Hello everyone, and welcome to CommunityForce webinar. As you all are much familiar by now, my name is Marian Mirza and I will be facilitating today's session. I'll also be answering questions during our dedicated Q&A breaks. So please do not hesitate to ask any questions throughout the session because I will be answering the questions at behind the scenes too, even when Christine is giving the presentation. Okay, and we want to keep the session as interactive as possible. Now, as mentioned earlier, our trainer for today is Christine Smith, and she will be walking us through all of the topics today. Now, before we get started, I'd like to show you a few key features that will help you make the most of this webinar. Now, as you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, there's a panel with an orange arrow. You can use this arrow to expand or collapse the panel. Also, to ask questions, simply type in the questions and click on send or enter. We will do our best to answer as many questions as we can, either by typing them in, as I mentioned, that I would be doing in the background, or addressing them verbally during the Q&A breaks. If we miss answering any of your questions, we'll follow up with the response via email after this webinar. A copy of today's presentation is available in the handout section. Please click on the handout title to download it. This handout also includes help guides, individual articles like video help, FAQs, etc. for each of the topics that we're covering today. Also, for a smooth experience, we have placed everyone on mute to minimize any background noise or disturbances during the webinar. Let's have a look if everyone has joined. Okay, great. All right. So since most of you have joined, let us get started. The topic for today's webinar is managing your evaluation process for the one-to-many application process. With that, I'll hand over the mic to Christine. All yours, Christine. Have a nice session, everyone. Thank you.
And thank you, Maureen, for that fine introduction. So excited to get started with today's session. So of course, with today's session, we're going to be covering a brief overview of how to monitor the evaluation process. So this is that review process where you've turned over the reviews to your committee. They're reviewing your applicants, and now you're wanting to monitor where those reviewers are in the process. Are they completed with their review? Are they still processing some of those reviews? Where are they in that process? And then we'll also go over the automated scoring feature so that you can see the automated scores as well as the final scoring results of your review process. So who's going to benefit? This is going to be any of you administrators who are responsible for reviewing the evaluation results. So if you're that individual, this is going to be of benefit to you. And like Maureen mentioned, this is for a one-to-many application process. So this is more than likely going to be, the majority of you will be our scholarship users. That's where you have one application and the applicants are applying to that one application, but being matched to multiple funding sources in the system. So as the applicants apply, they get matched based on criteria you've created in the application. And then based on that criteria, the system's matching them to different funding sources, like scholarships or fellowships, whatever it is that you call your funding sources that you're awarding. So the applicants are getting matched to them based on the criteria that they've entered on their application form and that you've created for that specific fund. And so the topics we're going to be covering, of course, is how to review your committee members as they're reviewing, and then the scorecard PDF, how to get the individual PDFs of each individual reviewer. If you're using the submittal feature, how to unsubmit a reviewer if they need to resubmit something. If you need to add scores for a reviewer, maybe for some reason they're not able to enter the scores at the moment, we're going to talk about how to do that. And then we'll take a quick break for about 5 to 10 minutes, and that's where Maureen will come in and answer any questions that may have come about during that first part of the session. And then after she reviews those questions, we'll continue with the remaining topics, which will be looking at the final results, all the scores. What's the final results for each fund that you've created a task for? What's the results for that committee's scoring? How did they score the applicants based on that specific task? And then the automated scoring results, if you're creating automated scores, which we reviewed in the setup functionality of this process. If you created automated scores, we'll talk about how to look at the report and see what the automated scores are for each individual applicant. And then, of course, we'll conclude with the ad hoc reports. So, of course, whenever you're dealing with scoring, you might want an ad hoc report based on that specific scoring task so that you can see how the reviewers scored, as well as maybe add some more features of the application into that report. So we'll talk about how to pull some ad hoc reports for your applications. And then we'll take that final break, and then we'll close for the session. At the final break, Maureen will answer any additional questions that have come through, and then we'll close for the day. So let's go ahead and get started with that first topic. So the first topic is reviewing committee member status. So what is the reviewing committee member status? What is its purpose? So the purpose of the review committee member status functionality is to see your reviewers and see how they're doing in the process. So you've turned it over to your reviewers, you've created tasks, you've assigned those tasks. Now your reviewers have the task and they're entering their scores. And so the status allows you to see exactly that, the status of your reviewers and where they are in that process. So let's go ahead and go to the site. And like I said, I am going to be going through a scholarship site, but if you do have a grant site with a one-to-many process, then please know this is the same process. It's just going to be a different terminology that we'll be using today with the scholarships. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm on my home page here. And then from my home page, I'm going to go to the application form that I'm wanting to review. So I'm going to my application form. And then once I get there, I'm going to go to the evaluation section here. So I'm in the application form, and so I'm going to click on this evaluations and go to that section of my site here. And of course, if you don't have the menu to the left menu bar open, then you can just click the arrow here, expand it, and open it up. And of course, when we did the setup, we set it up. And so now we're going to be covering these two topics here today, the status and results. So the review committee status, as you notice, as soon as I open up the evaluations, I'm in my reviewer task setup. So this is one thing I want to kind of point out because sometimes this happens and some of our clients wonder why. So in my task setup, I have, you can see here, I have 2 pages actually, so more than 11 or plus tasks listed here on this page. Now, when I go to the review committee status, you're going to see it's a smaller list. And the reason that will be is because when we are looking at reports like status, results, it's only going to show the status and reports on, excuse me one moment. It's going to show the status and reports for tasks that are currently turned on to show to your display on review reports. Remember, display on review reports is internal for the admin. So any of these that say no are not going to show up, and that's fine because I'm done with those. I don't want to see those, but these are the ones that are still pending. The review committee is still out, still working on them, and I haven't finished getting my final results on them. So all of them that say yes are going to be the ones that I see when I go into the review committee status, when I look at review committee results, awarding, anything like that, it's going to show just the tasks for the ones that say yes. Okay, so here I'm going to go ahead and go now to review committee status so you can kind of see how that works. So when I hit review committee status, see there's only those 4 tasks, and that's because I had them marked as yes. So now here on the review committee status, this is a nice screen. I like this because it gives you that big picture of what's happening. So right now I have 4 active tasks, or maybe I have 4 committees. So I have 4 different scholarships. So I have my WCF scholarship that's still being worked on, my DSS, my DHG, and my athletic scholarship. All of those scholarships, I have different tasks because I have different committees and I want to see how an applicant scored just for that specific scholarship. So I've created those different task cards, of course. So over here, This tells me where the reviewers are. So number of assignments. So don't get number of assignments confused with number of applicants, because assignments means, of course, this could be 3 applicants that were assigned to 2 reviewers. So that means there's 6 reads on that applicant. So there's going to be 6 assignments. So that's what the assignments is. This is every single assignment to every reviewer and how many were given to each one for that specific funding source or scholarship. So like this one here, I have 36 assignments. Over here, the incomplete, this is showing me of the assignments that I've assigned to my review committee, how many are still needed to be completed. So over here, I can see I did 6 assignments and I have 4 that still have not been done. So that tells me the committee isn't completed. Down here, they haven't even started. I can see there's 54 and 54. So maybe I haven't sent my email out to them yet to notify them they can start reviewing. So that's maybe why that's the scenario with that one. Then of course, these 2 I can see, okay, they're both completely done. There's assignments, none of them are incomplete. Then I can move over to the complete column. I can see how many are complete. And then here again, I can see 36 and 36, 28 and 28, no complete. So I know those 2 are completely done. The reviewers are done with those. This one they haven't started, and this one they've only partially gotten done. They're maybe a third of the way there. And then over here, if you're using the submittal functionality, you want to double check this because you want that number to match also, because if they haven't submitted, that means they may be still sitting on that a little bit and maybe haven't submitted it. And so you might need to contact your committee members and let them know, okay, you haven't submitted. So you might look at these numbers and say, okay, I have 6 assignments, 4 incomplete, and 2 are submitted. So what are those? How do I know who's completed, who isn't completed? Well, what you can do is you can go over here and click on the actual task name. And once that opens up, it'll give you that listing of the reviews. And then you can come over here and you can see exactly what this is. And you can actually sort this. So if I wanted to put all my completed together, I can sort that and it'll give them to me. So remember, I had 2 completed. And then over here it says is submitted, and it'll say yes here. And then if they haven't been completed, or if they're partially completed where they haven't completed it, it'll give you a 0% if they haven't started. If they've started but haven't finished, it'll just give you a percentage of what they've completed. And then of course, once they submit, it'll be over here as is submitted yes. So here I can see, okay, I have this Mike. It looks like he has 2 of his reviews done, but he hasn't done his 3rd one. So he's still working on it. I can see Marquis, they haven't done any of theirs. And then of course, Mike, he's done, what did I say, 2 of his. So then I can reach out. I have this email address here. I can copy it. I can paste it, go to Outlook, whatever you use, Google, whatever you use to send emails, paste it in there and send them a quick message. Say, hey, we're getting close to the deadline. I really need you to get this completed for us. So that's how you can look at the status and see what's happening. I'm just going to go back out here and go to a completed one. And then of course, the ones that are completed, like this one, this DHG Endowed Scholarship, I can click on it. And then what's nice about this is when I click in and I know they're completely done, I actually have I can export this to Excel, and I have a nice report with the grand total for that specific applicant for each one of the reviewers. So this is a nice report, a nice quick report if all you want to know is what the total score is. And the reviewer that reviewed that applicant, then you can just take this report and export it to Excel, give it the name so you know, okay, this is the report for my DHG scholarship. And then go forward from there. So that's what's nice about this. So this one's 100% done. So now I can actually, from here, then I can drill down and actually see the results of what's happening here. So let's just go to the next slide here. And if I click on this here, the next thing is looking at the scorecard PDF as well as looking at the scores of the reviewers. How do you get that information? So when you look at the scorecard, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, you can actually get a PDF summary of that scorecard PDF. So when we look at the scores, I'll show you how to look at the scores, as well as then also how to get the PDF of the reviewer so that you can have a copy of that individual reviewer and how they scored on every single one of the questions in the task that you gave them. So if we go back to the site here, and we actually are here on the review committee status, and we're looking at that screen. If you click on the applicant score sheet over here, see where it says score sheet? And if you click on that individual and open it up, this will give you the details. And this is what the reviewers see. Just so you know, this is how the reviewers see it. I have that they can see that the application form next to the score sheet. So I have the score sheet on the left, and then I have it to where this actual application is there on the right. Now, while I'm here in the score sheet, I'm going to scroll down and go over, remember in the setups training, we talked about the general information setup. And in the general information setup, give me a minute here while I scroll through. I think I had it activated. Yes, I had the toggle selected to show the comments of the other reviewers to each reviewer that's scoring this applicant. So how do those comments show? So if I'm a reviewer and I'm going in doing this review, if I go to the end of that application view here, I will start seeing sections like this one here. This is the section, and then this is the reviewer that reviewed it, and then how that reviewer answered the questions for that specific review process. I can see that, and I can see how they scored each individual applicant. And you can see it makes a separate section. Here's another one for each individual reviewer. And that was because I have the toggle and the general information set up for the application form. The toggle turned on to show the reviewer comments to each other. So that's turned on to be able to see them. So I'm logged in as an admin. So as an admin, I can see the total scores. I can see each individual question here and how they scored that applicant. But of course, I can't make any changes. And then if I go over here, this is where I get that reviewer scorecard PDF. This reviewer scorecard PDF will give me just the scores, just that little section that we showed there, a PDF of that section just for this individual review. And so here's the reviewer. This is who the reviewer was, and then this is the scores that that reviewer entered. So that's how I can get that PDF. I can then download it, save it to a folder. If I have a folder for this applicant, I can save it to their folder and then have that along with the rest of their application form also. And then I'm going to close that. So that's the scorecard report. Now, you also may have a scenario where a reviewer will reach out to you and you're using the submittal function and they submitted an applicant by accident. So they reach out to you and say, hey, I need to have that unsubmitted. So once they submit, they can't go in and make any adjustments to the task card that they've answered. They can't change any of their answers. And the only way it can be unsubmitted is by your interaction. You have to intervene and then you have to unsubmit it for them. So how do you do that? So if I go back to the site here, I'm just going to go back out to the review status section. And here in the review status section, I can go back into that task. And over here where it says is submitted, yes or no, I can actually come here. So maybe Lacey, this committee member named Lacey, reaches out to me and says, hey, I accidentally submitted Sarah's application form. Can you unsubmit it? I can say yes. I can come over here, hit this little checkbox, and then come over here and put it mark as not submitted. And then once it says is submitted no, then I can reach out to Lacey and say, okay, I've unsubmitted it. Now you can go back in and review that applicant and make any adjustments you need to make. So that's how you unsubmit if you're using that submittal function. And then they do have to go back in and submit it. And then once they submit it, it'll once again show is submitted yes when they resubmit it. So that's how you unmark something as not submitted. Now, the next scenario you may have is maybe they want you to unsubmit it and make an adjustment to a score. Or maybe they're trying to score and all of a sudden they've lost electricity, it's deadline, they know what they were going to give their applicants, but they reach out to you and say, hey, I can't get my scores entered right now, can you do it for me? Or maybe it's someone who just still, in today's day and age, we don't have a whole lot, but there's still some are very tech savvy. If they're an older one, then they may not have as much technology skill. So they might reach out to you and say, hey, can you enter these for me? And then you can help them as well. So how do you do that? So you can actually go in as that individual. You don't have to have their login information, but you can actually go in as them and change the scores, because as you can see, as an admin, you don't have the access to change scores, but you can actually change your identity to them and change the scores. So I'm going to go back here to review committee results so you can see where we are. Review committee status, I apologize, review committee status. And then when you're in the review committee status, the very first click, so I'm here on review committee status, I haven't clicked and drilled down onto any of these specific tasks. I'm still here on this first screen. This is where you have to be. It won't show anywhere else. If you look up here in the right-hand corner, there is a select reader. The select reader allows you to change your identity to the individual that you're scoring for, to change your identity to that reviewer. So right now you're seeing I'm logged in. Right here's my login, CommunityForce support. I can go here to select reader. So let's say that Lacey reached out to me, wanted me to unsubmit and make a change to her scores. Okay, so now here I am. So here's a list of all of my reviewers I have active right now and assigned. There's Lacey, I can find her and I can hit the switch. And then once I hit switch, if you look up here in the right-hand corner, I'm now Lacey. I'm logged in as Lacey and all I'm seeing is this review applicant. I don't see any of my home, I don't see my applications, none of that data. These tabs are available because I'm now logged in as Lacey and I only have access like Lacey does. Okay, so here's all the assignments. So now I need to look for the correct one. So here's the application form that I'm working with. So I need to make sure I'm in that application form first. Click on that because she could be on multiple committees, and so I need a multiple application form. So I need to make sure I got the right application form. And then the task, make sure I got the right task. She could be in multiple tasks. She could sit on multiple committees. So you always want to make sure you got the right application form as well as the right task that you're making these adjustments on. So I'm going to click that task. Once I click the task, I see the applications of the applicants that she has been assigned to. And so that one that we unsubmitted, I can find it right here because it says no. I know it was Sarah. So then how do I enter her scores? I just simply, just like I would if I was Lacey, this is exactly what Lacey sees. So if you're wondering what the reviewers see and how they review, what they see when they're reviewing, this is the screens that they are actually seeing. So I'm going to click on Sarah. And then once I click on Sarah, I now have the ability here to, you can see here, I can actually make adjustments to the score. Maybe she wanted this to be an exceptional, change that to a 3. And then here, again, I have all the access here, and then I can hit save and exit, and then that will save that score that I made the adjustment to. And you can do that for all the scores and all the applicants that they have been assigned. And then of course I made the adjustment to the score, but I still haven't submitted it. So I do still have to submit it. Notice these 4 are grayed out because they have been submitted. This one has not been submitted, so it still has the ability to select it. So I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to hit the submit button. There, and then now it's been submitted. And this is nice too. The reviewers actually have the ability to export this so that they can see the grand total of all the score, the grand total of the scores that they've entered. Now you're also going to notice the scoring comment. So if I don't have one on this specific scorecard, but this is that question. Remember when we built the task card, we said that if there was a scoring comment question that you wanted to appear, you could have it do so by looking at the scoring comment here, and then you'll see scoring comment, and that would put those results there in that field as once that comment has been entered. But that's where it would appear. Okay, and then also you can see on each individual application that reviewer, just so you know, you can tell the reviewers if they have this, they can actually get a copy of the scorecard PDF just like you could by clicking that, and then it opens up to download it, and then they can click on it, and then they can save that as well. So they have access to that PDF also. And then this here says admin because I am an admin, but this would definitely say reviewer PDF when they are looking at it, just so you don't get alarmed because you see admin. The system still knows I'm an admin. It's just making me Lacey and giving me Lacey's access. But when it comes to the PDFs, it's still giving me an admin. But a reviewer would definitely say reviewer PDF here, if you're wondering. So that's where we're going to go ahead and take a break and see if there's any questions that have come in for that first portion. And Maureen, it's all yours. I'll turn it over to you to answer any questions that have come in for that part. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Christine. Okay, yeah, we do have a few questions. One of them is the first one. I cannot see the submitted column at my end. Any reason why? Well, so basically there is a setting on your under your site settings. So Christine, if you can go to administration and site settings, please.
Okay, and I'm
You
just
have
going to
to
pause you
turn.
right
Yes,
there too. I
please.
forgot to remind everyone of one thing. So when you're
Yeah.
done with the changing the results for that reader, how do you get back to you as the admin? You simply come here where it says switch back, click the switch back, and that'll put you back to you as the admin. Okay, so now with Maureen, we're going to go to the administration tab, right, Maureen? Is that correct?
Yes, Christine. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that you
Administration.
can
Yeah.
turn this functionality on.
Yes, there is site settings. So if you're a department admin, you might not see this. So make sure that you have global administrator access, or you could reach out to your global administrator for this change. So these are site settings. And if we can go to the reviewer settings, yes, review screen settings, and there is the submit option. See, enable submit functionality for reviewers. If this is turned off, you will not be able to see that submitted column. And if you do want to, then make sure that this is turned on. All right, so that should bring up all the submitted and should allow your reviewers to start submitting the scorecards too. Thank you, Christine. All right, another question is, I have made the assignments, but my reviewers, on the review committee status screen, I do not see any change. Well, there could be two things. Either the task is not visible to your reviewers. So Christine, if you can go back and see if the tasks, you have to make sure that it is visible to your reviewers. So one of the reasons could be this. As Christine, we covered this topic in our previous sessions, but let's just show you that specific setting because and you go to evaluations and the scorecard. Christine, can we go to the scorecards? Yeah, setup. See, does it say display on review, display to reviewers? You have to make sure that it should be visible to your reviewers. Maybe it's not visible. So that is probably disabled why you're not getting anything. Maybe when the reviewers are logging in, they're not seeing anything. Also, have you notified your reviewers? Because if you're thinking that the moment you assign your applicants to the reviewers, an automatic email is sent out, no. So under assignments to committees, can we go back to assignments to committees, Christine? I just want to make sure that you have to look at the notification date. Were your reviewers notified? we scroll down towards the bottom, last notification, if that column remains blank, can we click on that, Christine, once again? Maybe there was some notification sent out previously or not, but that column should have a specific date, at least some dates, right? Because see the assigned date, but the last notification date is nothing. I mean, it's a blank. You have to notify. So this is how Christine is showing you how you can notify your reviewers, right? So the system will not automatically notify your reviewers when assignments are made. You have to manually notify your reviewers. See how she has sent a notification email. Okay. Thank you so much, Christine. That was helpful. Okay. Just a second, when I unsubmitted, does the system? Okay. Same thing, notifications. When I unsubmit a scorecard for a reviewer, does the system automatically notify my reviewers? No. Again, we like to have our administrators completely in charge of emails, right? Because we do not want any emails to be going into spam or junk. Number one, that is the reason. Number two, we do not want unlimited emails to be sent out from the system. So you have full control. So under review committee status, whenever you're unsubmitting a scorecard and no automatic emails are sent out to your reviewers, you could either quickly send them a text or send them an email stating that I have unsubmitted your scorecard. Now you can go ahead and start scoring the applicant once again, or review their scores once again. This question is pretty important. Is there a way I can share all evaluation instructions with my reviewers? So it's pretty simple. Now, as you can see, if we can go to the select reader option, Christine, your reviewers have help always available at their disposal. Okay. Now, if we take any one switch, I'm just showing you where they can find this. On the top right-hand side, there's open help, just like you as an administrator. With this open help, you can see that reviewers have their own open help option. This is an internal site that we use for webinars, but your reviewers will have complete information in it with the videos, help guides, FAQs, everything will be there. So they have the information available. All that you could do is just take a screenshot of the screen and highlight the open help and tell them that your instructions are present right there on your dashboard. Okay, that's about it, Christine. I've answered the rest of the questions. Texted them back. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Christine.
And thank you, Maureen, for answering those questions. Nice questions that we're getting today. So thank you so much, everyone, for giving us those questions so that we can go over those for you. So now we're going to continue on. So now we've looked at the status. So we're looked at the status and we know we've got these 2 reviews done, so we can start looking at the results, the final results. Maybe we want to drill down a little bit deeper and see a little bit more details. So if we go over here and looking at the results, one thing you want to make sure of is when you're looking at review results, again, all the tasks that are active, which means they're marked as display on review reports, yes, are going to display in this report as a combined total score. So some of you may just want to see the one score for the specific scholarship, but maybe you want to see, maybe you have a special task for financial, and maybe one committee reviews that, one big committee that goes through and reviews everything based on a financial and gives a score. Maybe you want to combine that with the score for a specific task. You can actually see those two together by keeping both of those tasks active. But if you just want to see the results for one task at a time, then you're going to want to make sure and have just that one task open. So let me show you on the screen here. So if we go back to the site and we're going to review committee results, we're still in the evaluations of that application. We're going to review committee results now. And now that we're in review committee results, it's going to show you the results of all of our applicants that have submitted or forward, once they've submitted and they've gone into the review process, everyone that's in that submittal status is going to show here on the review committee results. So as you're looking over here, you're like, okay, this is only 20% completed. This one's only 70% completed. Why is that? Why is it only showing a percentage? Well, if I come over here and look at this average score, it says 42.80. If I click on that average score, it'll tell me what the breakdown is. What is it picking up to get that average? So here it gives me the nice big picture. I have 1, 2, 3 different scholarships that this applicant has actually matched in, that they're actually being reviewed and being been chosen to be reviewed in those 3 committees. So I have 3 different committees because I have 3 different scholarships. So the reason it's not showing 100% complete on that first screen is because these here, there's 3 that still have not been completed. So of course here you can kind of see the big picture. Maybe you can see, okay, I see their scores. Maybe I want to see, are they matched to other scholarships? So at this stage, you can maybe start making your determination, but when we get to the awarding, you'll be able to see this even as well. But this kind of gives you a nice big picture for everybody that reviewer, for all the tasks that are turned on. So remember, I only have 4 tasks. This applicant, Amber, could be in multiple ones, but right now I'm just seeing the ones that I have turned on. If I want to, while I'm looking at this screen, I can just simply come here. Maybe I just want to see the results for the DHG. I can click DHG Endowed Scholarship, and it'll give me just those results. But just know that when I'm looking at that front screen, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 reviews, and the total is 428. So what it's doing, it's getting that 4280, it's dividing it by all 10, even though these 3 haven't scored, because it's dividing it by the number of reviewers assigned, even though they haven't been scored. This is in the results only. So it's looking at the total score and giving you that average based on all of the reviews. So how do I get to where I'm just seeing the DHG scholarship? So maybe I just want to see the DHG scholarship. So before I get out of there, since I did see this is that comments again. This is that comment screen. So when you're on the screen, the comments over here will give you the comments for that comment question. So notice this one did have some replies, my DSS scholarship. I wanted to know how they ranked this applicant, and so there's my number of rankings, and I can see, okay, they're not even in the top 2 of the reviewers. This specific applicant isn't the top 2 choices. So you can kind of see that there. Okay, so I can see those scores there. Now, if I just want to see the scores for my DHG scholarship, then what do I need to do? You might have be thinking this already. I need to go back to the reviewer task setup and only turn on the scores that I want to see in that result. So right now I just want to see DHG and just the DHG only. So I'll leave this to yes, but I would need to go to the athletic training scholarship, remove this. I would need to go to the DSS and remove that. And then the WCFE, I need to remove that. So when you're looking at results, if you just want to see the results for just one specific task, then my recommendation is that when you're doing that, turn all your tasks off except the ones, if maybe you do want to combine an accounting with the DHG, then I would activate that as well. And if I had the accounting team scoring, those scores would add together to this one. But I just want to see this one, this DHG right now. So I'm just going to leave that one as yes. The rest say no. And now when I go to the results, I can come here and now you see it says 100%. And then what's nice is I can see, okay, this is all my applicants, but only these that say 100% were part of this specific funding source. And now you can see here, instead of the 4280, she's now at 57, because if I click in, it's only dividing this total by the 3 that have been assigned. Now, if this wasn't completed, this average wouldn't be completed as well, and it would only be averaging on the ones that were complete. It's gonna average, even this, if this was 0 and these were 2, it's still gonna average across 3. So you want to make sure they're 100% done before you start looking at your scores. And then again, once I'm done with the DHG scholarship, I can look at those results. I can get my export to Excel. Here's another report. You can get that, export it. Then I can go back to the reviewer task setup, and maybe I want to see some more. I'm going to go ahead and turn these on because I need them for the next function here that we're going to go over. Save and exit. And then I would turn off the DHG. I would go there. I would remove that, save and exit, and then I could see the next one. So that's what you would do, is you can turn them off and on. But I'm going to go turn these others on because now I want to see them in some other reports. So I want to make sure I get them turned on before I go any further, so that I'm seeing everything I want to see. Because if I didn't do this, I wouldn't be able to see them in other reports either. Okay, so now I want to see everything together. Okay, so now everything's back on, and we're ready to go and look at the next item. So what's the next thing after results? Of course, the next thing, I'm just going to jump this slide because I want to talk about automated scoring report. So the automated scoring report, so if you had automated scores and you created those automated scores, we actually have a report that shows you what those automated scores are, and what the score was, what the question was, and how the applicant answered it. So to get to that, I'm going to go to the site here. You're going to go to Manage Reports. I'm still in the application. We selected the application, and instead of being in Evaluations, we're now going to go to Manage Reports. So when I go to Manage Reports, there's a report called Automated Scoring Report. So you've created the scores, and then the Automated Scoring Report, if I select it, when you first come here, you're going to see a blank screen. Don't be alarmed. Automated scores, remember, when you created them on a one-to-many application form, they're created for each individual funding source. So how do I see the score? So I'm looking at my DHG scholarship, right? And I need to select the funding for DHG. Then once I select that funding, I now see the scores just for the DHG scholarship. So I'm only looking at automated scores for my DHG scholarship, because you could have scholarships that have different automated scores for each individual scholarship. Like you might have an automated score for GPA on one scholarship. You want to do automated scores, but maybe another one you're looking at automated scores on, it's a financial, so maybe you've created a automated score based on what they've entered in their SAR, their FAFSA, their financial status. Maybe you entered a score based on that. So here I have my DHG endowed scholarship. I have my scores. And if I want to see a breakdown, so like this one, maybe I want to see, okay, why does Danielle have a score of 15? I can come over here, click on View Automated Score Sheet. And this will show me the automated scores I have created and how she answered them. So are you a first generation college student? Yes, she got 5 extra points. And for her GPA, she got 10 points. So she's got a total score, automated score of 15. So that's how automated scoring report works. And what's nice, if I go back here, on each of it, so you would just change this for each fund, and you would see the results for each individual fund. And then what's nice is when you export this specific report to Excel, it will give you the breakdown. So if I export this, I think it's this one, to Excel, you will see it gives me, there's the breakdown. There's that one. She got the 3 points. And then here, that generation question, they got 0 or 5 based on how they answered it. And then this total score is here. So you're going to see the scores that each question that you've created an automated score, what the result was on that specific score, and then what's the total score for that automated score. And then you have this nice report that gives you that breakdown for automated scoring. Now, one other place I want to show you, there's a question that may come up is, can I see the automated score with the task score? So the only place you can do that, I'm just going to do this, if you're awarding multiple funds, you're going to be in the awards screen here. And this is something we'll cover again when we get to awarding. You'll be awarding Manage Awards multiple funds. And then when you're in Manage Awards multiple funds, when you select a specific scholarship, when you are looking at that specific scholarship and you scroll over to the right, it's going to give you the automated score for that scholarship because it knows you're in the DHG scholarship, and so it's going to automatically pick up the automated score. However, the average score, you want to make sure you go over here to the filter and you change the task to the DHG so that you get just the results for the DHG, because if you don't do that, you're going to get combined scores. So now I know I'm in the DHG scholarship in my awards. I'm looking at the automated score and then the average score. Since I do have my filter that says DHG, I know that that is just the scores for the DHG. So that's how you can see those side by side. And then, of course, you can export this and then get your results that way out also. Okay, so that is the automated scoring. Now, the final report I want to touch on is here on ad hoc reports. So, of course, ad hoc reports are reports that you can create on every section and every question in your application form. And along with that, you can actually include the questions you've created for your task cards. You can put those in ad hoc reports. And so that'll give you the total score and the average score across all the reviewers that have been assigned to that applicant based on the task that you filter out. So let's go over how to build that so that you can get the proper filtering and the proper scores when you create that ad hoc report. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details on how to create ad hoc reports, but this is basically how to get an ad hoc report for your scoring. So I'm going to go home here since we're kind of drilled down a little ways here. I'm going to select my application form. Once I select my application, I'm going to go over here to Manage Reports. And over here we have Ad hoc Reports. And then I'm going to create a new report. If you have one, you can clone it, but I'll talk about some of the cautions you need to use if you are cloning. But I'm going to create a new one first and give it a name. Let's try. And then the report includes, so I want application data. That's always the status, when it was submitted. I always put that in my report so I can always know where they are in the process and what was their submitted date. I kind of want that data. Section data is going to be every question from every section that is active on the application form at this moment. And then scorecard information gives me all the data in regards to the scorecard. The task cards, every question that I created in my task card, it'll give me the answers to each one of those questions along with the data that I put in here. And then I do save and next, and then the next screen, of course, is where I'm adding my column. So you have an Excel spreadsheet, pretend it's blank, and each column is going to be an item that I pull into this report and where it falls on that report. So first section, I come to application data. I chose from the first screen. So in application data, I want to include status, and I want a column for date and time submitted. And so I hit select them, and then I hit my arrow, and I put them over in the selected column. These are what the columns are going to be. This is column 1, this is column 2. Then maybe I might go into my section data. So section data is the application form itself. And so maybe within the application form, I want to know maybe some academic information. So maybe I want Are you a first generation college student? How did they answer that question? Maybe I want to see that. And then their GPAs. Maybe you have two different types of GPAs, so I might go ahead and pick those up, and I want to move those over. So that's from the application and how the applicant answered. If you don't want these, you don't have to, but maybe for this report, I do want this data. Then if I scroll down, now I'm at the scorecard information. And notice it's only showing those 4 that I have active because that's the only ones I have active at the moment. I'm going to do GHG. So I want all the questions I created for my reviewers to answer in my DHG. So as soon as I select that, it then opens up all of those questions. I can select all because I want to know how they answered every single one, and then hit the right directional, and then that will be as part of my report. And notice since I selected it all, it shows this is empty. So now I have all the questions I want to include. So now I'm going to hit save and next. And now that I'm here, this is where I need to, this is an important step when you're doing scorecards because I don't want everything. I just want the specific DHG scorecard, the task card, only the applicants that were part of that. I don't want to see it all. So I do need to filter this out. So I'm going to add a condition. And I'm going to add a condition based on section data. I'm not section data, I'm sorry. Add a condition based on scorecard information. And then when I do that, it fills out everything until I get to the field. So what's the field? It's going to be task name because I only want that task's data. And what's the task? I want it to be a task that's equal to DHG endowed scholarships. That's the task that I want to see the results for. And then I can come here and click finish. And then once I click finish, I will have that report here, and then I can click view. I'm hoping I see a button that recreate reporting database that makes me think I might not have any results here, but let me see. If I click view, okay, so we do have results, good. So if you didn't see results, a lot of times what I'm talking about is here, hit this recreate reporting database, give it a few minutes, it'll send you an email when it's done, and then go back in and you'll be able to view the data. So here I've selected it, I'm clicking view. And now that I'm clicking view, I now can see there's the applicants, there's their status, there's the dates they submitted, there's how that question, remember I pulled that question, I can see how they answered that, I can see their GPA data here. And then the review is just all I'm seeing is that DHG scholarship and the reviewers for that. And then if I scroll over here, there's every single question, the scores for every question that the reviewers answered, every single reviewer it's giving me. So you're going to notice if I look over here, these applicants are, this one's 3 times because this one has 3 reviews. This is the reviewers that reviewed that applicant. And then this is how each reviewer scored that applicant. And then here, when you're looking at these total scores, this is based on total scores of reviews for that specific review that have been started. So if there was 3 reviews and only 2 reviewers scored, it would only give me a 2, and then the average would be on 2. But this one here, it's got 3 and it's averaging on 3. So that's why you're going to see multiple things here, multiple ones by each individual reviewer. And then you can export this to Excel as well. Now, one thing I see some of our clients do is when they are creating these, they have like scored tasks that are exactly the same. So like, you know what? I have my DHG. I also want to do my DSS. So you can clone this, hit copy, and then when you hit copy, it creates a copy right underneath it with the date. So then you can go in here and change it here. I'm going to put DSS. Oops. DSS. And then I still have the same thing. I can just hit save and next. Now what some clients do is they come here, and if you notice I do DHG, that's blank. They forget to remove the DHG and add in the DSS. So before you put in the DSS, go back up here to the DHG, and then I'm just going to select all. This is easier to do it this way, and then unselect the ones I don't want to remove. Okay, so this one here, this is where I know the DHG. Make sure to remove the old questions from that task. Then go and select the new task, select all. Even though they're the exact same questions, each question was answered differently based on the task that was given to that review committee. So now I'm going to go and I'm picking up just the DSS, and now I've got those questions. And if I go here, you're going to see the DHG now has questions that haven't been selected. So I know if I go to DSS, I wanted everything, this should be empty. So now I've got the DSS. This is what some of our clients forget to do, and they just click through because they think, oh, it's the same questions. No, it's not the same questions. You need to make sure and remove the old and put in the new for the new one that you're doing. Hit save and next, and then also make sure to change this to the DSS so that you get just the DSS, and then hit finish. And now you have your score report for that. You don't have to recreate the whole wheel. Everything's exactly the same, except you just needed to switch out the scorecard questions. And now you've got it. So that is it for ad hoc reports as well. And that's all I have to cover. So I will turn it back over to Maureen for final questions, and then we can close our session for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Okay, we do have a few questions before we close. I would like to set up the automated scoring for our funds. Where do I ask for assistance on this? It's very simple. Please reach out to clientsuccess@communityforce.com. I'm going to mention it in the chat. Please make a note of this. Write an email to clientsuccess@communityforce.com. Okay, and we'll be happy to assist.
Maureen? Hello? I think we lost Maureen.
Did you all lose me, Christine,
Yes,
for a bit?
we did. Yes, we lost you for a bit. Okay.
Okay, let me repeat that question once again. So the question is, can I use both automated scoring as well as manual scoring for the same application? Yes, absolutely. You could use the automated scoring as the first round of evaluation and get the highest scoring applicants from there, and then only move those applicants into the manual scoring process or the manual evaluation process. You could use reporting to get the finalist. Also, you could use status details as well. If you need more information, once again, reach out to us on clientsuccess@communityforce.com and we'll assist you with that. So yes, it's possible to use both manual and automated scoring. This question is, my automated scores are not calculating accurately. How can I check that? Well, reach out to us on on our Zendesk support team. Please reach out to them. They could look at the criteria setup, if everything is set up correctly or not, and then we'll get back to you with the answers. Probably there's some value or criteria, automated scoring criteria, that is not accurately added. So please make sure to reach out to our support team and we'll be happy to assist you with that. Also, if you have any worries that this is a live application process, what if there are any changes to be made on the automated scoring criteria? Please do not worry. Anything that we make changes on the automated scoring or the manual scoring at the back end does not affect your live application answers that applicants are entering. These are two separate pieces at the back end. We can definitely make changes to the manual scoring, the tasks, the etc., and even with the automated scoring. So do not worry about that. Please feel free to reach out to us at support or client success. Either ways, we are here to assist you. I think that's it from my side, Christine. We can, you can do the closing. Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
perfect. Thank you, Maureen, for those questions, reviews of them. So I appreciate that. So in closing, of course, do make sure that you get a copy of today's handout so that you can get the resources. The resource section is nice because it has the click here. Because of course, with our sessions, we can't cover every detail on how to do specific functionality. So those training guides, it's always nice to have those links to those training guides so that you can get the step-by-step details on and find and drill down even deeper into our help desk and find those on the guides that we have available there. So again, we appreciate everyone coming today. We thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules. This is a time of year you're probably getting busy, like if you're scholarships, running scholarships, getting everything ready. School years are getting close to the end, so you're getting everything finalized. So thank you again for taking time out of your busy day. And if you do have any questions in regards to something that we covered, or you want to talk to one of our client support specialist in regards to some items that we talked about, maybe you want to see if it works with your processes, then of course, please feel free to enter a support ticket on our Zendesk with the communityforce.zendesk.com. This link here will take you to that where you can enter a support ticket if you have an administrative account. So if you have an account and you're an administrator, you should have an account. So please make sure to enter that support ticket so that we can assist you in any way that you need assistance. So we thank you again, and we'll go ahead and close the session for today. And everyone have a very good week. We'll see you soon.